Developing news, police now say there have been reports of threats or scares at Kalamazoo area schools every single day since that deadly school massacre at Oxford High School last week.
And just today, 2 schools in Kalamazoo County alerted police to alleged threats. News Channel 3's Allie Jenner-John is live at Parchment High School, where a threat canceled classes today. Allie.
Erica, Andy, hello. Well, a team of agencies, including state and federal law enforcement, say today's threat here was not credible. The district superintendent says someone overheard a comment here in this school, and investigators say it was misconstrued and then spread, which led to today's cancellation. Now, so far, law enforcement tells me all of the threats at Kalamazoo County schools were not credible, including the 2 today. School buses that pulled into Parchment High School this morning turned right around and took kids back home. The district superintendent tells me parents and students reported a possible threat just before school started. Parchment Superintendent Jason Misner says there wasn't enough time for police to thoroughly investigate, so the district canceled classes at the high school out of an abundance of caution. The school sent kids home before students could get inside the building. Hours later, the superintendent of Gull Lake Community Schools tells me a false rumor spreading on social media sparked fear of a possible threat at the middle school. A team of law enforcement agencies across Kalamazoo County responded and found no real threat to either school. While not credible, the reports still incite fear and can disrupt or cancel school. Law enforcement says it treats every alleged threat as credible until proven otherwise. Right now, at least 9 students accused of making school threats are facing charges in West Michigan. None are in Kalamazoo County, but officials here are warning that threats against a school can have a penalty of up to 10 years in prison.
Plans to open a new restaurant at a key location in downtown Kalamazoo now appear to be backburnered.
The former Arcadia brewing site brewed its last beer and closed its doors more than 2 years ago. News Channel 3 investigative reporter Mike Krafsick finds out what's holding up the future plans.
For 27 months now, this building has sat empty. No signs of progress here. More than 2 years ago, the now current owner announced plans to bring a new restaurant here. And while the building is not for sale, city officials say they'll work with anyone who's willing to develop the site. Plastic covers up the windows of the 30,000 square foot building. The former home of Arcadia Brewing sits on about 2.5 acres along the Kalamazoo River.
But there was expectation of hopefully expanding the success of what was there before. Because it was a draw to downtown and it was very productive.
Developer Chris Elliott purchased the property and unveiled plans to open a new restaurant there in September 2019. Elliott owns Grand Woods Lodge in Grand Rapids. The second location was supposed to replace the former Arcadia Brewing site.
When they were ready, we would have dollars to assist them with their process of growing and developing.
Mitchell tells me Elliott has never reached out to the city with site plans or permit requests to turn these 2019 renderings for a new restaurant into a reality.
Is he going to recruit someone to be there, or is he going to develop one of his own businesses there at this time?
Elliott declined to answer my questions on camera. In an email response, Elliott tells me the pandemic stalled his plans to open a restaurant at the East Michigan Avenue property. Elliott says he still hasn't abandoned those plans. The state confirmed its first COVID-19 case about 4 months after Elliott closed on the property he bought from a bank. Previous owner, Arcadia's CEO Tim Surprise, transferred ownership to the bank for $1 in lieu of foreclosure. Elliott says a homeless encampment that grew nearby has also devalued his property. The city cleared out and closed the encampment on Ampersea Avenue about 2 months ago. Elliott says he's tried to lease the former brewery, but the encampment turned off a company considering renting the property.
Do you think that maybe scared off a few people too?
It could be, definitely. It's always a possibility. We have not gotten feedback from folks saying that scared them off, but that wasn't a concern that the city was literally dealing with on a regular basis.
Federal court records show in July, Elliott and his business partner, Dax Hilardes, agreed to pay $188,000 to settle a class action lawsuit. More than 24 employees at the Grand Woods Lodge in Grand Rapids allege the men failed to pay them for time worked and stiffed them out of tips. As part of the settlement, Elliott and his partner don't admit fault. Elliott didn't respond to my request to comment on the allegations.
If, quote, sorry to say, if an entity is not asking for our assistance, we can't get involved with private business activity.
$1 million in city and state incentives and tax breaks were invested to open Arcadia Brewing in 2014. Now closed for more than 2 years, it seems this space will remain empty until Elliott is able to redevelop it.
Show me the money. $550 million. That is more than the gross domestic product of some countries. And it's all been gifted anonymously to Western Michigan University.
Show me that money. Tonight, for the first time ever, we are finding out how some of that money will be spent. News Channel 3's Maria Serrano joins us live at WMU with the breakdown and some pricey promises the school is making. Maria.
The university's president is calling today an exciting day. He's also calling the enormous donation the Empowering Futures gift. The school has just announced new scholarships coming this year, and they hope that they are a game changer for current and future WMU students.
It's a great day to be a Bronco for sure. Thank you.
And a great day for anyone who wants to be a Bronco. $550 million goes a long way when it comes to attracting and retaining students.
We want more stories of student success.
Officials say they hope to do this by making WMU education more affordable and more accessible.
And we're just getting started.
And WMU President Ed Montgomery says these hundreds of millions will be put to good use for years to come. The money will fund, among many other things, a new scholarship called the Bronco Promise that will provide free tuition for first-year students whose families earn less than $50,000 a year.
Bronco Promise is an excellent example of how the Empowering Futures gift is extending the capacity of the university to graduate students in a changing world.
WMU's president says the money will also lower the cost of room and board, increase student internship stipends, and award 800 upper-level students up to $1,000 a year in grants. It's encouraging news for Sierra Ward.
I feel like we're definitely moving in the right direction. I appreciate the transparency of President Montgomery.
However, not everyone is as optimistic that the money will be spent equitably.
Hopefully, Western puts in money into the black students. That's one thing that they fail to do consistently.
Tonight, some student leaders reacting to the university's announcement say more needs to be done for minority students who don't graduate at the same rate as other students.
Black people have been fighting to get scholarships, to get funding, to get things from universities. Institutionally, we're not doing well, but we're still here and we're still fighting for it. Or it takes us longer. It may take the average student 4 to 5 years. It'll take black students 7 years to graduate. Why? We don't have the finances.
I still am concerned about the gap. It's great to provide scholarships for freshmen, great to provide it for seniors, but also that sophomore and that junior years where like our retention rates are just excruciating. And so I feel like providing that for students, predominantly students of color, and to help diversify the campus.
WMU's president didn't address specifically how the donation will be used to assist minorities. What we do know right now, Andy and Erica, is that the $2.4 million WMU is set to spend in 2022 will benefit about 1,350 incoming and current students.